Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome to the Chicken Box. I am your host, Kevin Impeccable Peck, representing the Gen X. They're like, who cares? Anyway, I also have for the very first time, welcome Courtney Alexander to the Afro team. You are a digital marketing specialist? No.
Yes.
I got that right. And one day we have so many new, young, bright, shining stars at the Afro. Welcome to the Chicken Box. And you will be coming on from time to time. So if you just introduce yourself real quick, Courtney, for those who don't know you, where you're from, what you're doing, and then we're going to get into today's conversation, Black people versus travel. Do we like to travel? I mean, Black people, tell me, do we like to travel or don't we like to travel? Anyway, Courtney, quick introduction.
Hi, my name is Courtney. It's a pleasure to be here. I am the digital marketing editor. I am from Chicago, Illinois. Right now, I live in the suburbs of Chicago, but I'm glad to be here. And I help out with the social media and some of the marketing as well. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And once again, I am grateful to be here.
And you represent the Gen what?
I represent Gen Z.
There you go. We are multi generational, uh I forgot what to call us, but Gen X, Gen Z, millennial. Anyway, we have perspectives from everything. Today is Black people versus travel, and we have a special guest. Um, her name is Liz Wagner. Let me see if I can see if Liz is backstage. Liz, welcome to the Chicken Box. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Good to be here.
Good. Hearing most of the East Coast was having some power problems. I'm like, you're not gonna have no power problems on the day we talk about travel. So, welcome to the Chicken Box. If you like, what is the Chicken Box? This is a place where we dispel our stereotypes, where we talk about issues that are in the Black community. We inform, educate, and empower, and it's powered by the Afro American newspaper. For over 130 years, the Afro has been informing, educating, and inspiring. And actually, it's the third oldest Black business in the country, the first oldest in Maryland. So they're celebrating a big birthday in August. Hopefully, you can join us August 13th in the Baltimore, D.C. area. Yes, we've had a legacy edition. We had a newspaper before most of us were born. Now we call ourselves a media company. So go by afro.com, check us out, and just see what we've been up to. We're Black owned. Nobody controls our voice, and we get to say what we want to say. And that's the whole thing about the Chicken Box. You get to speak your truth. We're talking about Black people versus travel. Liz, okay, I didn't give you a proper introduction. I'm going to read something and just, when you know somebody, it's different. But she is also known as the Hotel Lady. She began her entrepreneurial journey as the founder of Hotel and Hospitality Concepts. It was a boutique firm in handling clients in the entertainment industry, for performers, and for big tours, which she still does. Then she went on to work for such brands as Marriott International, Hilton Worldwide, all of these Starwood hotels. Maybe these resorts are names you've heard, but she's done it. She's been in the industry. How long have you been in the industry, Liz?
Over 30 years.
What? You look
Over
only
30.
30.
Yes,
What?
I started when I was 12. No, I'm actually a baby boomer.
You a boomer?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, Dr. Draper is usually on, which is the CEO of the Afro, but she couldn't join us. She is actually traveling. She might call in from the airport. I don't know, but we will see. Black people, do we like to travel? Okay. What do we think about when we talk about travel? Or Liz, why don't you just give yourself before we get into that? Why don't you just give a little short thing about your business and like what you do on a daily?
On a daily, so it's multifaceted. One, I'm a hotel consultant. Being in the hotel business for 30 years, I have opened hotels. I've actually, my company, we built a hotel and opened it in Liberia and Monrovia. And so I get called on by different hotel companies to come in and fix and help with revenue generation and kind of figure out how they can best position themselves in their market. So that's one side of what I do. What the part that I really, really love is, and I don't know why, is dealing with you entertainment people. when they go on tour on the road, and with all the last minute changes and the crazy that goes along with that. So I do a lot of sports and entertainment. I do sporting events, meetings and conventions. Don't do a whole lot of leisure travel, but I pretty much get people to where they want to be when they're headed there, as opposed to scouting out, trying to make suggestions as to where you should go. Um,
Absolutely. But so thank you for coming on to the show. If you love to travel, put it in the chat. And where are some of your favorite destinations? So, I mean, we're coming out of, or we're still around, or the pandemic is circling around, or the virus will always be here like the flu. Most of us are things are opening back up. How has travel been this season? I think most of the schools are getting out, and people are thinking about where are we going to go this year. What do you think?
Actually, TripAdvisor has said that this year, 2022, is the greatest. They're calling it the GOAT. It's the greatest of all travel years. There, people are taking more vacations as a result of the pandemic. There's a supply and demand, which is why your hotel rates are through the roof right now. Airlines, they have less airplanes that are going, so that's kind of why, and the fuel, and so there are many reasons why the airfare is high. But travel, leisure travel, is definitely high, and is continuing to climb, while business travel is still low. And I think a lot of that is because people have learned to work remotely. In my last position, I was responsible for 27 hotels, and I was on the road 3 to 4 days a week, every single week. And now my old counterparts are out maybe once a month because they figured out how to do their jobs without getting on the airplane. So your business travel is slow, but leisure travel is high. They're projecting that it would be as high as it was pre-pandemic by the end of this year, which, interesting enough, I found an article that said that Black spent $109 billion in travel in 2019. And they're
What?
projecting that we're going to be close to that, if not higher.
Black people spend how much money in travel?
109 billion.
Oh, wow.
Now
Whew.
they didn't break it up between business travel versus leisure, but that's a lot of money.
Absolutely, I had no idea.
Mhm.
Courtney, where are the Gen Zers traveling? What are you guys talking about? Where you guys going?
So I think we like more tropical places. I've heard a lot of people going to Jamaica recently. It looks beautiful, and a lot of people I know also went to the Bahamas. So I guess anywhere tropical.
Gen Z or tropical? I think Bahamas have never gone out of style, or Jamaica. I mean, since I think I can remember, a commercial was "Come Back to Jamaica." I don't remember what it was, but these big tourism department all have these push. Some
Mhm.
of these islands, tourism is one of their biggest revenue sources, um, and they love to have us. Some places are not so black friendly. Have you found, or have you ever been to a place that didn't seem so warm and welcoming, Liz, or your clients gone to a place that said, we really don't like black people, but they didn't say it, of course,
I,
in writing.
I, I haven't heard it from people, not vacation spots, but I have experienced different scenarios in corporate travel, depending on the territory that I've been in, where they're just not used to dealing with blacks, and they're not used to dealing with professional blacks, and so they're kind of standoffish, or they'll just stand and look at you. Um, but I think we as black people tend to go to places where we're welcome. We're going to go to the Caribbean, we're going to go to where that cultural influence is, and so where they're learning as well as we're feeling comfortable. And I think within the past 5 years we've broadened our scope. Usually we used to like to go to the beaches. Every time there's a vacation, let's go chill in the Caribbean, let's go sit at the beach. But now we're widening it, and we're going to the Dubais and the St. Lucias of the world, and we're going to visit those other places that offer the same, but we're broadening our horizons in terms of where we're going.
Absolutely. I was looking recently that a lot of people, African Americans, are starting to travel to cities in the U.S. Just for the culture. A lot of people have become foodies
Hmm.
for the food. They're taking food tours. I think
Mhm.
during certain seasons, like football seasons, I know some folks who do big bus trips to their favorite team's city and are traveling that way. Have you noticed that trend as well, Liz?
Yes, I think as a result of the pandemic, there are more group trips. And I think we tend to, as a culture, do group trips. We go and we celebrate milestones. We, travel for weddings and different celebratory events. That's what we do. And we go and we have fun with our groups. And there are more people who are taking road trips. And a lot of that has to do with the airfare being so high. Um, but people are hitting the roads now. Buses are becoming a little problem because there's a shortage with drivers. So the situation is becoming challenging. But yeah, we're definitely out there.
My wife said in girl trips. I don't know if that was
Mhm.
a
Yes, girl trips.
message to me. A
I think
message to
there's
me.
more girl trips now than before.
Hey, let's put it out there. Girls, well, I don't want to call y'all girls, but since we call it a girl trip, but really it's ladies. But you guys can plan the trip.
Mhm.
Fellas, we don't, I mean, we don't do it quite as well. I mean, we'll do some golf trips, and we could talk about that. But what makes the planning so easy, ladies? Courtney, why do the girls seem like they always can organize? They can pay for their stuff starting a year in advance. They know exactly what the plan is. What do you think that comes from?
I personally think we can be more coordinated. My friends and I, when we plan to go on a trip, we use like TripAdvisor, and you can have it like set up where you can organize by days, and you can also add comments. So we'll organize by the days, and then we'll make a comment like, I'll take care of like food expenses, and then someone else takes care of like Ubers. So we just like to be organized, and we like to know what we're doing ahead of time.
All right, Liz, what about your girls' trips or the
I think the women are planners by nature, and so you guys are doers, and so we structure and organize and say here you go, and that's kind of how it functions, and that's just how it is. And with you men, a lot of times are just like, it doesn't matter, just pick a spot, and we want it to be the spot. And
right?
we have the preferences where men are just like, whatever, we'll just go with the flow, it doesn't matter.
Right. Some men are particular though.
Yes,
Like you find
some.
some men who are like, I'm not doing a 3 star. So let's get into it. Who maybe never talked about it. You being the hotel lady. So what do those star ratings actually mean? You know what I mean? Like from I guess hotel, motel, or is it you hear 3 star to 5 star? Is there a 2 star?
There is a 2 star. Their
Okay,
star rate.
I'll let you get to go through the star system.
Yeah, you want to stay away from the 1 stars, but your 2 stars is really, stars are based on the level of service that a hotel provides. And so I get into this conversation all the time because people will go to your third party sites online. They'll go to TripAdvisor and say, oh, it's a 4 star rating on TripAdvisor. No, all of those website ratings are based on reviews. Your true rating comes from AAA. And so it depends on your service. So your 5 star hotels are usually your Ritz Carltons, your Four Seasons. Back in the day, they maintained that rating based on the number of employees that they had per guest. And back in the day, you used to, if you had a 300-room hotel, you had at least 300 employees. There was at least one employee there to represent at the number of guests that you would possibly have. And so it's about amenities, whether it's room service. So your limited service hotels like your Courtyards, Fairfield Inns, all of those are usually 2 stars. They don't have restaurants that serve 3 meals a day. Whether or not it has a fitness center, if they have laundry service, room service, all of those things go into play to determine whether or not what your star rating is. It has nothing to do with your reviews. And so I argue with promoters on a daily basis. And when they want to put my clients in a Fairfield Inn and say, no, it's a 4 star hotel, I'm looking right at it. No, that's the reviews. That is not a 4-star hotel.
If
Which
you
is
just
also
tuned
why
in,
people need my services, because those promoters will put you in anywhere and say it's brand new, so it's a 4-star. No, it's not.
absolutely. They said what 70 cents of every dollar before on spent on the internet was going to travel. I don't know if that number is still there, but I'm sure it's pretty high. I mean, we
Mhm.
came from a time where we had to deal with the travel agent, right? To a point
Right.
where the computer came and you could book yourself, and a lot of people were hesitant initially to put their credit card online. Now it's probably no one who no one is has that fear of let me give you my credit card online. I think every from Amazon, from everything else that we do, that we've overcome that hurdle. But then you get into, like you said, the unknowns of the hotel and the travel industry.
Mhm.
And what do you really know? Okay, we do know that it's been some things set up, like you said. What'd you say? You go to TripAdvisor,
Yeah.
and did that play a big part? People put in the chat. Does TripAdvisor play a big part of of where you stay? Do you read the reviews before you book? What do you think, Courtney? We heard. Is that a big thing for you? The reviews?
I most definitely check the reviews. I feel like it's important to look out for things like bed bugs, or like if the room wasn't clean, or if it's safe in the area. So I always check the reviews to make sure that I'm going to be safe and to make sure that the room is decent.
So how do we check for bed bugs anyway? Is that blue light or that? Did everybody buy one of those? I'm just wondering because you can't see them really.
No, you can't see them, and I guess a hotel really doesn't know that they have them until somebody gets bit, or they find them. But they usually exterminate, or should have, which is why I try to stay with brands, because there's a process in terms of how that's done. But um, when you start getting into your 2-star and your unknown name brand hotels, then those are the ones that are more likely to have um, less decent experiences.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how do you? Is it a? I'm sure we can Google this, but I was just saying, is there a bed bug light or something
Yeah, there are
that you?
UV lights that you can see, but it's usually there in the creases of the mattress, so it's not like you can pull back the sheets and you'll see them, but they hide in crevices, and so it's
I
really
don't
hard.
even know how I got to the bed bugs, but I mean, people are traveling, especially with all of the, the COVID kind of conversations, and everybody became way more. If you were a germaphobe before, it's probably took your level of germaphobility to
Correct.
to
Correct.
the highest level. But and as you notice, I guess if you stayed in a hotel recently, it seems like it's not a lot of people at work like
No,
it used to be.
there's still a major labor shortage, and it's hard for the hotels to operate. There, believe it or not, there are still quite a few hotels who are not offering full restaurant services because they can't get the servers to work in the restaurant. A lot of hotels are not offering daily housekeeping because they don't have enough housekeepers to clean the rooms. You can come down to the front desk and get towels and to replenish your toiletries, but you cannot get daily housekeeping. In those 4 or 5, 6-star hotels, you can. They're going to make it happen regardless, but there are a lot of hotels that are still suffering depending upon those markets.
I was at actually a 5-star hotel recently, and it was after midnight, and they didn't have anybody to bring towels up, or they were like, "Well, you can come down," and she was adamant, and I was like, "Wait a minute," you know what I mean? Like I was like, "What service are we at?" So you saying nobody in this whole hotel can come bring towels up here, put them in the plastic bag, put them, So it was a whole thing, and I think when you're paying, you shouldn't settle. Like when you're
You
paying.
shouldn't settle, and they should never say no. But I will caution, anything after midnight, you're dealing with a night auditor, and they're usually the only ones in the hotel. So they're going to say no. They're going to be as least cooperative as they can because they're there to do the audit and close out the day. And it's really hard at midnight to get anybody to do anything. And it's sad in the hospitality industry. But now today, it's usually probably less than 5 people on property after midnight.
Yeah, I learned that. I think Dr. Draper may be traveling now. Let's see if she. Dr. Draper, how are you?
Hey there. I'm good. Hello, everybody.
How
Hi.
are you?
Hi. So,
Yeah.
what an apropos topic. I am in Dallas Low Field Airport, getting ready to board a plane to Chicago Midway. So, lots of people here traveling.
Mhm.
Oh, the airports are packed. I
Yeah,
mean,
the airports are packed.
we're going places, and a few places like Atlanta, Dallas, or I mean places that have a high black population. I Man, it's like a concert or a festival, just trying to get through. If you don't have something called clear, I don't know if you've been traveling, if you've been in the pandemic locked away, but I suggest you get clear, and if you can get pre-check, I suggest you get pre-check because those lines for just getting through security will be crazy. You might have to get to the airport 2.5 or 3 hours before, especially if you're like in a big airport like Chicago, Atlanta, or one of those Dallas, one of those airports that have tons of people going through. But anyway, Dr. Draper, meet Liz. Liz is the hotel lady. Oh, you on mute? Um, oh, you on mute on purpose.
Hey, the hotel lady. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Good. So,
So
so, so
we're
they're
talking.
boarding.
Oh,
Go
you
ahead.
go ahead.
I'm listening. So, if you ask me a question or something, Kevin, I'll way back in. But there's so much background noise.
All right. Well, go on mute. Thank you for jumping on. We're talking about Black people versus travel, and we are actually traveling, um, and the masks are off. All right, have we talked about that? The mask, you have an option. They even say when you're standing in line, it's so good to see your smile again. Masks are now optional. I don't know if you've traveled in a minute, but how are we feeling about that, Courtney?
It's been a minute for me since I've traveled, but in general, I still like to wear my mask. I know that cases are increasing right now, so if I'm going like on a airplane, I feel more comfortable if people have on their mask because yeah, COVID is nothing to play with, and yeah, it's still out here.
Right. Okay. Liz, what are you hearing?
Last week I was on the flight, and there was maybe 5 or 6 of us that had on masks. The majority didn't. I'm glad that the mandate is gone, and so that if I do want to take it off, I can take it off. But I still feel more comfortable with it.
Right. It's a lot of mixed things. We're still fighting this invisible thing, right?
Definitely.
It's like I wear my mask all the time. I'm boosted. I'm in my house, but still, I still got it. Anyway, that's another conversation. We want to go somewhere in our minds uh, to travel. So let's see, Courtney, what has been? I know you said the Gen Z likes to go somewhere tropical like Jamaica, Bahamas. What is it about it? Is it the beach? Is it the city? Is it the culture?
I think it's more like aesthetics. We like to take photos, like do videos. So I think just having like a great photo and you're by palm trees, you're on the beach. Yeah, I think it's about making memories and about the aesthetic of it.
Right. Dr. Draper, you want to jump in on the tropical destination?
Well, I'm definitely a beach kind of person for a little while. Give me a couple days on the beach, then I want to see the sights. So I like to go to a place where you can do both. You can do the beach, and then that's why I like places like the Bahamas. You can do the beach, but then you can go in town. There's some nightlife. I don't want to just be isolated on the beach all the time, but I like the beach.
Liz?
I prefer the beach because I'm one of those vacation travelers because you travel so much for business. But I do like enjoy the nightlife and doing the excursions and trying different things. So I'm always open. I've gone. The most exciting trip that I've done was to go to South Africa and do the safari, and I did a 5-day safari, and so um, that was educational. It was an experience to have, and I enjoyed it. But
Absolutely.
but yeah, sitting in front of the water and on the beach and pool and all of that is definitely calling my name actually.
Is laying? What's the layout in the sun? What is that really? Is that like a calming? I don't like to lay in the sun, but I'd rather be in the shade outside. But for a lot of people I know who like the beach and the pool, they love to lay out and just have the sun rays. Just is it something? And what does that do for you?
For me, it's just about getting a tan. I try to be a brown girl as often as I can. And so I'm out trying to get a tan. But it's also the peace and just, you can read, you can just listen to music. My phone isn't blowing off, and I'm just sitting there just enjoying myself in the moment.
In the moment, Courtney.
And
I agree with that. Getting a tan and just like being in your own element and enjoying the weather. We had a harsh winter, so just like soaking in the sun and enjoying it while you can.
Well, you're in Chicago, so yeah, you guys have one. Now, I mean, now it's extremes of travel, right? Because it's some
right.
people who love the winter travel,
Right.
because they like to ski, they like to go into the lodges. I don't know what else do you like. What else do you like to do in the wintertime?
Yeah, but before you leave that, the other thing about being in the sun are the medicinal value. And so your doctor will tell you that the vitamin C is good for you. And so take vitamin C supplements in the winter, but come summertime and sunny time, you don't need to do that because there's a natural vitamin C coming right from the sun. So
There we go.
Yeah.
Who knew? Maybe I'll lay out now some medicinal.
15 minutes a day, Kevin. 15 minutes a day. That's all.
Right. Because back in the day when you were younger, you used to just stay out in the sun, and then your nose would get all burned, and your eyes would get burned. I don't know if you put the stuff on or you didn't put the stuff on, but for some reason, as a child, you stayed there absolutely too long in the sun to the point that you were feeling. You just tuned in. This is Black People. This is how we travel. We're talking about travel, where we like to go. What do we like to eat? Well, you know what? There was a question. Um, do we like Airbnbs now more than hotels? Or
I think their Airbnbs have definitely increased since the pandemic. I think people feel more comfortable in a home than they do a hotel at this point in time. Depending on the type of home you're looking for, the rates are kind of similar to the hotels. They're definitely getting competitive. So you're not really saving a whole lot more money. You can get more people in the room as opposed to three or four. But Airbnbs are definitely on a rise, and they definitely have become major competition for hotels. There are some hotel brands who are now getting into that space by renting apartments and condos. Marriott is actually in that space now. So you can go to Marriott and rent a home, an apartment, condo as well. So it's definitely where people, again, we travel in groups. So rather than buying four rooms at a hotel, we can get a 5 bedroom house and it be comparable in price.
so Liz, let me ask you a question. So what would you say to a homeowner that has extra space thinking about Airbnb? What would you tell them?
I personally think that Airbnb is a risk because I know a lot of horror stories of people's homes being destroyed and so forth. But if it's I just think that it's an individual choice. I know a lot of people who live in their home and will rent it out for special events. It's really what your comfort level is and whether or not you want to do it. I mean, I know people who have been very profitable. I have a friend that has a 3-story brownstone in Harlem, and he won't rent it one floor for less than 30 days, and I think he usually has no more than 3 or 4 months out of the year that is vacant. And
mm,
so it's been extremely profitable for him. So it's just really what works for you. And if I had a second home that I wasn't doing anything with, I would consider it.
but your primary home, you kind of like.
I would not.
Most people are particular about people being in it. I did do one of the Marriott villas during the pandemic, and it was pretty nice. I don't really know how the Airbnb owners clean their properties so well. So I have a little hitch when it comes to if I want to go really stay in somebody's house. Sometimes I like.
There's no monitoring process. They put out what they expect everyone to do. Um, I know people who have Airbnbs that, they'll go in and clean, but is it really sanitized the way that we're expecting it should be? You don't know. And so I know people who bring their own cleaning supplies when they stay in Airbnbs and they sanitize it themselves. I personally am a hotel person.
Absolutely. So then we have our travelers who love the outdoors and they love the cabins and the what are those vehicles? Those silver vehicles? I can't think of them. That they just go
Oh,
and they live in.
the motorhomes,
Those,
Airstreams.
all of, is that still a big thing, or is that a segment of African Americans who are really, I don't want to call them backpackers, but they just love to be in the outdoors and they'll pop up a tent or they'll sleep in their RV and just pull up to a campsite.
I think it's more in the baby boomer era. But yeah, they are, and they're motorhomes that are costing $200,000-300,000 that have everything in it that your home could ever have. And there are a lot of them that are out there. But I think it's a generational thing. No, I don't know, Courtney. Gen Zs, are they doing motorhomes and trailers and stuff?
I guess it depends for traveling. I would say that we prefer flights, but I've recently seen people in my generation who have RVs, or they'll have like a school bus and they'll convert it to a home, and then they just like live on the road. So they have that home with them when they travel. So I've seen an increase in that.
Absolutely. If you just tune in, this is Black People versus Travel. Do we travel? Of course we do. To the tune of what was it,
9 billion.
109 billion. So we traveling somewhere. We're spending money in somebody's city or somebody's country. Are we going out the country right now? With everything going on, are we still looking for that trip to Africa or to Paris or to London or to Dubai? We heard Dubai. I mean, Dubai seems to be on everybody's bucket list. Is that a yes or no? If you haven't been, yes. It's a long trip. I've been before, but I'm saying, is that Courtney? Is that on you guys' bucket list?
Most definitely. I've seen the city, one of the cities in Dubai, and it looks beautiful. I hear a lot of my friends talking about it. They're like, let's go to Dubai. And I'm like, most definitely.
Liz, I mean, well, you know what I like. I mean, I have children. I guess that are in the Gen Z, and you're right. There's no shortage of picture taking
Right.
ever. I don't care where we are. The phone's gonna go up, and either they're doing a little TikTok move or they taking thousands of pictures. And I guess if you were gonna say a place, if you can bear that long flight, Dubai is gonna have the photo moments of your life. There will be no shortage during your trip uh, of the photo moments. Now, a lot of the Gen Z and we can talk about it, but it's states are starting to legalize weed and marijuana, and of course we know, and not just Gen Z, but there are a lot of uh, partakers of the green all over the country. Are you finding that they're traveling to states where it's legal as well to just have their medicinal helpings of whatever it is that they like?
I don't know that they're traveling to go do that, but if they're there, they're definitely going to partake and experience and shop and do what they can while they're there. I don't think it's an attraction yet because here in the States, you got Colorado, California. and people go there all the time anyway, so it's not necessarily a draw. I do think people are hesitant outside of the country to be as open with it because they don't know the legalities and where they end up. So they're a little bit more cautious traveling internationally with it. But definitely um, to go to California, to go to Colorado, to go to DC, not a big deal anymore.
Well, if you are going to Dubai and that's your thing, please do not. I'm going to repeat this as a fact. Do not take anything with you that you like to smoke, because I had a friend who had a seed in his bag and he got locked up right in the airport, right
Mm-hmm.
on the spot. He was gone to Ramadan. If Ramadan didn't come and they released him, I don't know how long. He looked at me behind the glass window. And so that's just a one. Dubai is one of the strictest places to travel. I would say the next strict place would be Canada. If you have any kind of thing on your record that you've ever done, and it's a record, it is super difficult to get into Canada. But Canada is a beautiful place, and I know a lot of people go to Niagara Falls, the U.S. side or the Canadian side, and go to Toronto and some of the other places. But that was I don't know, that was just like a public service announcement. But we're traveling. We're traveling now. Where are we taking our kids? Where our kid? Where do the kids want to go? Is it still the same? I want to go to Disney. I want to.
Absolutely want to go to Disneyland. I think they're wanting to go to the beach as well. So um, whoever
That
has
Disney,
the
yeah, that Disneyland price is not cheap. If you have more than one, if you have a group of kids, you better get online now and start looking for the deal, because that is your whole vacation. You might need 2 years to plan for the
oh,
Disney trip
absolutely.
if you're a planner. And if they're
It's
younger than
like
5 or 6, don't do it, because they're gonna forget. They're gonna forget what happened for all that money you just spent on it.
right. It's not worth $300 a park, and they're not gonna remember it for sure.
Absolutely not. But it's other experiences. I remember when my kids were younger, they just wanted to go to a hotel with a pool,
Hmm.
and the pool, that sometimes you need a little getaway from the house, and you might not have to have the budget to travel far, but you can just do something together and different from being in the house, even if it's locally in the city that you are. Just make a day of it, or make a weekend. We going to the hotel, what I mean, and the kids will be up all night. I guess adjoining rooms for adults. you know, you can bear it for a weekend. You might need a vacation when you come back, but all in all, it's fun. I mean, the gas price, like everything. I'm like, are you guys trying to make up for these whole past 2 years? You know what I mean? And just charge the heck out of everybody. I'm talking about from the flights to you try to make it all up. I don't want to know, because the prices are going sky high for everything. I mean, you used to could fly to LA for maybe maybe $500. I looked yesterday; it was like $1,200.
Yeah, it's crazy, and they say they probably will not go down before September, October. Um, I know a lot of airlines. I know Delta is one of them, and I think Alaska Airlines that they cut back 100 flights for the summer from between June and August, so that they can have less planes left. They have labor issues too, and they're trying to camouflage it, and try to stop so many canceled flights because they don't have the personnel
So the hospitality industry is hiring.
and nobody's working.
Newsflash: all these
Every
people say
every aspect of the hospitality
they
industry.
can't find. They say they can't find jobs out there. It's no. It seems like the hospitality industry is like they're begging for, for people to
And
come to work.
they're paying a lot of money, and people are still not coming, and I don't get it, but yeah.
But if you have that person in your house, or that that's always asking you for money, the hospitality industry and travel is looking for that person to get off your payroll. If
And
they
you don't
want
have
to.
to be highly skilled and educated. There are plenty jobs.
Plenty of jobs. This is Black People versus Travel. We're talking about the travel industry. I know recently it's been flights, so that's why, because of the people, flights have just been getting canceled. You think you have a flight, you check in that night, and in the morning you're getting an email or a text that your flight's been canceled. So plan accordingly. If it's somewhere that you really have to be, I would do an early morning flight. Some people don't like those early morning flights, but at least if you're on an early morning flight, if something happens, you get a chance to get to your destination because they can possibly get you on a later flight. But it's been times when people have had days
Mhm.
that their flights canceled. They said we can't get you on nothing for 2 or 3 days, and it's been like, and I know Dr. Draper, she just was getting on a plane, but that happened to her recently, in Atlanta. Got stuck in Atlanta for an extra 3 days because the flight got canceled. So I'm like, we're traveling, but but people aren't coming to work, and so things are getting canceled. You look like you want to say something, Liz. Jump
I
in.
was going to say it happened to me, not so much because of not having crews, but because they've cut back on the flights and utilizing smaller planes. I was trying to get to Atlanta um, Augusta weekend with the golf tournament, and every flight to Atlanta. Well, actually, I was in Houston, and they took me to Hobby when I should have been at Bush. And so it's an hour to get between the flights, and I couldn't make it. And there was not a flight for 2 days in order to get to Atlanta. So I had to go to DC, which was my original destination. But it's happening. You have a lot of variables. You don't have the staffing. You have the flights because of the weather, because the weather's been really bad, and they don't have the planes to put people on. So that's why people are getting stuck.
Absolutely. Everybody's looking for an adventure. We're giving you some of the things that are happening to getting to your adventure. Um, it used to be everybody wanted to go to Vegas. You been to Vegas, Courtney?
I have not. I want to go though.
You do want to go, right?
Hmm.
Everybody, I don't care who they are. If you're at the airport and you see the sign that says Las Vegas, they're the happiest kids group in the airport. I mean, if you like just walking through the aisle and you look up and see which city this particular plane is going to, they are having a good time. I don't know. Have you ever noticed that, Liz?
Always, always, and
Always. But now coming back from Vegas, they're the quietest people. They're the quietest people at the airport because probably they may have lost some money. But
right,
but,
slot machines
but
in the
going
airport.
but going, yeah. And a lot of people think it's just gambling, but it is a lot to do in Vegas. That's one of my favorite destinations. It's wonderful restaurants. You can get to the mountains. They got great golf courses. Anyway, they're not paying me to say this, but what would be one of your favorite places that you've been, Courtney?
I've been to San Diego. I really liked it out there. I was 17 when I went, and my family stayed at the Harrah's Resort. I wish that I could have gambled, but everyone seemed like they were enjoying themselves. And um, my cousin, she was having like a birthday party, so I missed out on Waka Flocka because he was performing. So I think the resorts out there are amazing, and I definitely want to go back.
You been to San Diego, Liz?
Yes, I spent quite a few months in San Diego. Beautiful place. The weather is between 70 and 80 year round. They don't have a winter. It's beautiful weather. They don't have a
It
lot of
is.
black
It is.
folks out there though, but it's a beautiful
Right.
place.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of black people that I see it in San Diego. And you can usually tell it when you're in the airport, like where you land. But it is. I mean, it's a beautiful place. The weather is nice. The airport is not too big. Not too small. Easy to get in and out. And I don't know. Sometimes those small places. Like I have family in Biloxi. Has anybody ever been to Biloxi?
Mhm.
Biloxi has a beautiful beach. It's kind of like the Las Vegas of the South,
It's
probably
free Mississippi.
over 7. Right. It's in the heat of Mississippi, but But you fly into, it's almost like a bus station. The airport is so small. Like my cousins, they're leaving for the airplane a half hour before it leaves. I'm like, I'm coming from Baltimore, Atlanta. I'm like, how are you leaving a half hour before? They're like, no, don't worry. The same lady who checks you in will be putting you on the
Carrying your
plane.
bag.
You come straight through security, and you're right there at the gate. So and you know what? Sometimes that traveling like that is nice. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess everything about travel depends on your budget. And I think some people like the bus. It's a lot of trips from like the DC area to New York. And I don't want to call it whatever we call it, but we used to call it the Asian bus or whatever they called it. But it was like $25. I don't know if they have those buses. I don't know. They changed the name because the name was so kind of racist of what they used to call the bus. But it was people that was their budget to get to New York, and they got on the bus. The bus had Wi-Fi. They didn't have to drive. It was like $25. Somebody put in the chat because I don't know. I can't remember the name of the bus. Courtney, do you have those buses out there in Chicago?
Is it like the Greyhound?
It's like the Greyhound, but it's not the Greyhound is its own thing.
I know what you're
but
talking about. I can't think of
the bus will be, you'll see it. Sometimes it's a double decker. It has a little person on it that looks happy and it says the something bus. Anyway, if somebody comes up with, I don't even know why I went to that bus, but Mega Bus. Thank you.
Oh yeah, there you go.
The Mega Bus, right? Yeah, I think that is exactly what I was trying to say. It's definitely better than the name that we used to call it. At least in Baltimore. I don't know if they called it that name anywhere else in the world, but you were getting there. I mean, back in the day, the Greyhound for us, that was it for African Americans. They were putting you on the bus. They were saying goodbye, and they didn't know what number you were going to be. It was no text. It was no pager. It was just a prayer. Okay, here's your lunch. You on this bus. Here's a couple snacks, an apple maybe, and you throw your little suitcase down there. And that was before suitcases had wheels. So that was, that was quite
been around that long?
Huh?
Mega Bus has been around that long?
No. This was Greyhound. I'm just saying. But a lot of us back in the day, if we look back in the history of Blacks traveling, but it was only one trip that we never signed up for, and we know what that trip was, and that was coming to America. So we don't even want to talk about that trip. But other than that, we love to travel. $109 billion. I don't know if you guys have heard the news, but where are you going? Put it in the chat. Where is it? Where is a dream? Where's the place that you like? I just have to get there, like a bucket list kind of thing for you. What do you think, Courtney? Bucket list, travel destination.
I have so many places.
Come on, run them down. Just run them down.
Singapore. I watched that movie Crazy Rich Asians, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks nice. I would say Ghana. That looks like a lot of fun, and I just want to experience the culture. I would say Costa Rica. Where else? Greece.
You can go to Ghana, come to Atlanta. No, I'm just kidding. You're gonna feel like it. Black people doing everything here. We owning everything. Greece.
Bali. Where else? I have a whole list of places that I want to go to. I've never been to Canada. So
Houston has Hawaii, Big Island. I guess that's Honolulu. Africa, England. All right. Most people want to go to England. We have a lot of people of color in London. It's not the most. I mean, it has beautiful moments, but it's
no good food.
It could be gray, and the sun doesn't shine a lot, and be prepared for some rain. and your dollar is worth nothing over there because you're dealing with the conversion of a pound. So but there's some nice people in London. It's some great people.
No
I've
great
been there
food. It's pretty basic.
several. Well, you got your fish and chips,
Yeah.
and and your steak on the rock. I don't know. Has anybody ever had a steak cooked on a like a hot rock before? My foodies out there. If when you travel, try something different. You know what I mean? But I've traveled a lot, and I tell you, when there's a suspect, I'm going to KFC. I'll even deal with McDonald's, and I'm not really a McDonald's guy. But when I'm not completely sure, like I was in the Congo one time in Africa, and that's where I discovered. I don't know if you guys have heard of Nando's. They have Nando's in Chicago.
I've never heard of that.
Nando's is like a grilled chicken place. I ate there every day because everything else was, you just, some people are experimental. They're like, I'll eat rabbit. What about you, Liz? Do you eat all the wild
I don't eat
game?
wild animals, but when I was in Africa, we did go to KFC twice because I was traveling with some Secret Service people who swear that KFC in Africa was better than it is any place else in the world. And I must say, it was very different. It was very good. it was just
Somebody,
good.
Thailand and Morocco as a place is on their bucket list.
To Morocco.
So Q, y'all have Nando's in Opelika. Where is it?
Opalite.
Opelika, Alabama. All right. With do we like to see historical civil rights places? Are we traveling like to Jackson? Do you like to go to different just landmarks or like different people's home, like Medgar Everett's home, or to the place what's the bridge in Alabama that help me out, Q? We're going through Alabama history right now.
During the pandemic, I had a group of friends.
You had a group of friends that went there?
They drove to all of the historic places from Atlanta. I went with them to Macon, and we went and did the James Brown thing. They actually have a plantation that had the slave homes and the first Black grocery store that was owned by a slave that came from this one particular plantation. So there is a lot of history, and I would have never thought of it, but during the pandemic, they're like, let's just go. And we'd go within driving distance on Saturdays and go and visit all the places nearby.
Do you like to take the guided tours when you go to cities, guys? Let me we're talking about travel. We're wrapping it up. We got about 8 minutes. I really never liked the tours, but
I like
some
to go.
People love the tours. You like to go on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Some places you want to go on a tour because you don't know the city, and you hear about stories of people who've gone on their own and they got robbed, or they took a wrong turn, or they got in the cab and the cab wasn't their friend; it was the robbers' friends. Okay, the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
There you go.
Okay. There you go. Thank you, Q. Q is our resident Alabama historian. Thank you for tuning in. But we're traveling, people. Let's see what about travel that you don't like? Is it the packing? Do you know how to pack? Have you become a professional packer yet in your traveling, or is it just you always overpack? Courtney?
I would say that I overpack. And just in case of a emergency or something, I like to be prepared. And yeah, I think it's better to overpack than not bring enough stuff. So,
Liz?
I don't overpack, but I pack enough. But I've also learned by being on the road every week that I have a go bag. I just have the standard that's in my suitcase all the time. It never comes out. All of my toiletries, everything that I need all the time stays in my bag so that I don't ever have to worry about it. I don't ever forget those things. And all I have to do is throw my clothes in there. But I do hate unpacking when I return. That's
So is this do you guys like carry on bags so you don't have to check a bag, or you
Always
prefer to
check a
check?
bag. Always check a bag. I tore my rotator cuff once, and so I always check a bag. I don't take any more chances.
Right, because sometimes the whole crew will look at you, and the woman is up there and she's struggling. She's trying to get the bag of fellas. Come on, man, help the ladies out. When you see them, struggling, now there's some women you ask them to help, and they're like, "No, I got it." Boom, and they done put the bag up in 5 seconds. As far as packing, I used to overpack. Then my mother gave me these like pack bags for one Christmas that zip up. I don't know if you guys seen those cubes, and you just roll your stuff real nice. And I mean, I found that has kind of really helped me keep more organized in my bag. I always take an extra pair of undergarments. You know what I mean? That's like in case you always think in case that, but everything else, it seems like you need to wear something different every day. But have you heard of the neat repeat? Sometimes you can just neat repeat, right? And you just change your shirt, but everything else was. Well, that's as a guy, you still got to take a bath. But fellas, you can't get away with it.
Right, you just change your tie and your shirt. You change the shirt and tie, and you wear the same suit a couple days. Yeah, I see it all the time.
I think if it wasn't for women, guys wouldn't even get their hair cut. They wouldn't brush their teeth. I don't even know if they would take a bath. It was all when some person in some grade said, "You stink." They said something to you that got you to. I don't know where I'm going with that, but listen, we got the final words on travel. I'm thanking Courtney, our first time. Welcome to the Afro, which you will see Courtney's face on the chicken box. And again, this is not a shameless plug. This is a plug. The Afro-American newspaper, the oldest Black business in Maryland, 130 years. Please, we need your support. Go to afro.com for less than 2 Uber Eats. You can have a digital subscription for $100 a year. You can have our legacy edition, which we have beautiful pictures and papers that you can frame. Yes, we still have a legacy edition. Yes, I know you want to say, are you still playing the cassette? But no, but we still do have a legacy edition because some people like to hold the print and they like it for a value. But we are up to date, up to speed, afro.com. We're doing a lot of things in the digital space, streams like this, and we're able to bring on young talent by your support. We're not supported by anybody else but us. And if we don't support us, I'm not just talking about the Afro, but I'm talking about look for a Black business, look for a Black restaurant, look for a Black owned hotel. We own some of these chains. All of the chains aren't owned by the corporate. Find out in your city. Let's get to talking and let's figure it out. But final words, Courtney, and then I'll go to Liz last on travel. Anything you want to say about it? You can get. This is where you get up on the chicken box, and speak your truth. Whether you had a good experience, bad experience, or something you just want to share about travel. Go.
I didn't touch on this, but I do not like the Amtrak. I'll probably never go back on there. I prefer like flying or driving my car. The Amtrak, it's just not it.
All right. That is your Amtrak is not your thing. I know people who love the train. If you live in DC and you're going to New York, you love the train because you don't have to drive, you don't have hotels, tolls and all the other things. But Amtrak is not for you, Courtney. I'll go one more time before Liz. Travel, I think it is good to get outside of your comfort zone, your area that you're used to, and to really experience other cultures and see. And people will say to me, because I've traveled so much in my life, what's your favorite place? And usually my answer is the people. If the people are nice and friendly, pretty much anywhere can be my favorite place. But I think just to go and experience even different cities, and different ways they do things, like music in New York might be different than the music in Atlanta or down south. Or it's just the culture of that particular location. Open up your eyes. I know sometimes we like to just stay in the box, but do something different. I'm gonna be like Court. I'm saying I'm not going. I don't like snakes. So I'm not going outside, and I'm not I'm not sleeping on the floor in the tent. You know, I might go to the cabin. I'm not the guy. I'm not swimming in the lake. I don't even like to swim in the ocean because the predators are there. They're like, well, how'd you get bit? Well, you did go jump in the place where the predator. Well, they never come. These sharks never come this close. Well, all of a sudden, a shark is washed up on the beach. That's my thing. That's my truth, and I'm done with travel. Liz, final words on travel.
You should try sleeping in a tent in the Sahara Desert. That is an amazing experience. That is awesome. And there are no snakes out there, and you do have a door to those luxury tents. But travel, I think travel is necessary. I think it broadens your horizons. It makes you more experienced, more exposed, and a better, more well-rounded person as you're experiencing different cultures and different cities and different educational things that you're seeing that's out there that's around you and taking advantage of it.
Absolutely. This is Black People versus Travel. We are traveling, you guys. This is the Chicken Box. We have Liz Wagner, the hotel lady. If you need a hotel experience, because you can go book it yourself, but if you need somebody who can get it done for you, and if you have a big group, she's your lady. You know what I mean? If you're in the entertainment business or sports, that's her niche. But I'm sure she helps groups out all over the world who are looking for that right place and that right location. Courtney, Gen Z, I'm glad that you're part of the conversation. Welcome to the Chicken Box. I'm sure we're going to have more. We didn't get into anything heated today. We didn't have any big disagreements today, but because we talk about travel, it's kind of hard to get upset about travel. But you can go on trips with friends and you get in some of the biggest arguments because somebody wanted to do something or you didn't know this person was really like this. Listen, I'm over a certain age. I'm like, I'm not sharing a room. I don't care who you. If I have to share a room, I'm not going. And if you want to share a room with me, you shouldn't be wanting to go. Because you haven't saved up for the trip because that is. I'm gonna put that out there. At a certain age, sometimes ladies still like to share rooms because they have friends that they were in college with and they just bond. But me, fellas, we're not doing no room sharing. Anyway, this is the Chicken Box. Thank you for coming on. And we look forward, God willing, to next week. I didn't say it. If you haven't done it all day, please smile. It makes you feel better. It makes somebody else feel better. And call up a senior because they're lonely and they miss you and they would love to hear from you. So have a great day. Until next time, travel somewhere and then let us know where you've been. Take care. Bye-bye.